Hey, this is Heath Rossonay from Spank the Monkey. You're listening to Blevins Nation. Spank it up.
All right. It's time for Blevins Nation, the show that features rock stars talking in open conversation about whatever the hell they want to talk about. Where am I going? Hell, I don't know. So sit back, hold tight, and open up your ears, because the revolution starts now. Keep it live. Blevins Nation is back for another episode number 27. And yes, today we have Dan McNay, bass player for Jack Russell's Great White. Great storyteller, great bass player, played with a lot of people along his illustrious career. So, sit back, hold tight, and open up your ears, baby. By the way, the venue in Cincinnati, this coming weekend, July 21st, L.A. Guns, with Tracy Guns and Philip Lewis.
Hi, this is Chris with Blevins Nation, and we're talking with Dan McNay of Jack Russell's Great White, bass player. How's it going, man?
Good, Chris. Good, man. I'm, ready to attack the day, waking up, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
You're on that California time.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's California time all the time. But hey, man, I appreciate you, with the opportunity to talk about music.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, no problem, man. I enjoyed. I love promoting live music, not just live music, anything about music, pretty much. So, but you played bass with Jack, and Jack Russell's Great White. And when we talked that time up in Cleveland, you said you had some other projects you were working on and have worked on in the past. So just fill me in on Dan.
Okay, I'll give you the quick. Well, I mean, I've been super fortunate and grateful to play with. When you first start playing music, you love it so much that the further you get into it, you want to learn more and you want to play with great people, and it's like anything, like baseball, like anything in life, golfing. You want to be the best, you want to golf for the best, right? And you want to whatever. Music's the same thing, and so you have big aspirations and dreams and all that stuff. So I was fortunate and to play with some great people thus far in my life. Before Jack, I played with Ronnie Montrose. Before that, I did some touring. I played in the Frankie Hannon band, Frankie from Tesla, and then I also filled in for Brian. He actually had some health issues at one point. I had to do some string of Tesla shows.
Okay.
And I've got to, record videos and recordings and, with the likes of, I don't know, Eric Martin, and been on video with Dave Manichetti from Y&T and Michael Lee Firkins. He's a fantastic guitar player. I've toured with Mandy Lyon. Anyways, yeah, that's the past. The current thing, I have a couple records going in Vegas, 2 different projects. One of them has Doug Aldrich on it, and the other, since I talked to you last, these have begun. And then one of them is with Ron Mancuso, probably the nicest studio in Vegas. It's where Five Finger Death Punch, Disturbed, and all those guys, they record their records there, and they sound fantastic, those records.
Oh, yeah.
So we're doing a record there. Yeah, I'm doing a record with Ron, and Les Warner's the drummer. He used to play with the Colts. He's really, really, he's a great friend, actually. He's a great dude. Super
Solid
funny.
drummer.
And yeah, he's actually, when it comes to Rock Pocket, I mean, that guy, a lot of drummers, they can riff out and they can do whatever, but when they just play the kick and snare, if it doesn't feel awesome,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Bonham had that thing. John Bonham had that thing, and I think Les has a similar thing like that. I mean, he's not Neil Peart, and he doesn't want to be, but
Of course.
he plays with such feeling, right?
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes you can't lock in with a drummer that I mean, you hear it, as a musician. Your average person doesn't hear it, but the cult, you can just dude, you can lock into any of that stuff.
Yeah, he did the love album and the Electric album.
Oh, hell
Rick
yeah.
Rubin, the big one that
Hell
put him
yeah.
on the map. Yeah. So I'm doing something with him. But yeah, enough of the name dropping, man. I mean, it's like, you can go all day.
Oh,
I
yeah.
played with so and so. I got the Sunday band I play with every Sunday with, Mitch Perry and Ed Roth and all these killer. Joe Travers just played drums last week.
Mm-hmm.
Very
cool.
I mean, it's always just. You're here in a city where there's a bunch of talented people, and you get the chance to play with some of them. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. But so many people don't get that opportunity. Just by coming out to. Where are you from? Are you from the area, Los Angeles, California, or?
No, I was born in Oakland, and then I grew up in the East Bay area.
Okay.
Raider fan. Where I grew up.
Talked about that.
in Dublin. I grew up in Dublin. There's a lot of the guys that played Little League baseball and stuff went on to do. There was like a huge, thrash metal scene from that area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bands like Testament, Metallica, Exodus. You know what I mean? All of them.
Yeah.
Machine Head,
mm-hmm.
right? They're all from that area. And like for instance, I mean, Chuck Billy is a singer for Testament. I played, Little League with his little big brother Eddie,
mm-hmm.
who's a big guy too. He's a big Indian guy as well. And then Phil Demmel from Machine Head. We played Pop Warner football and Little League baseball together, and we all grew up together.
That's
you know
awesome.
What I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of got that in my blood too. I kind of grew up listening to all the same music those guys did, and from the early Iron Maiden records to Scorpions to Ozzy records to bands like Riot, and there was a band there called Law's Rocket. They were really influential at the time, and there's something in the water there. I don't know what it is, but then I moved to LA. After I was playing with Ronnie Montrose by the time I moved to Los Angeles. So, yeah.
Okay.
Been here a while.
Oh yeah. All right. What the tour, man? That was a surprise. I had actually, interviewed Jack and Rob a while back, and then Robbie, and then I also interviewed Chip's Enough, and he was telling me in the interview, there's a big thing coming, but I can't talk about it, and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool, and then wow, y'all are headlining the Hair Nation tour, Eddie Trunk thing, and then, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And to be honest with you, it's so good to have Chip with us because that guy's such a character.
Oh yeah.
First of all, I mean, let's just talk about how. I mean, he's a bass player, and he's a phenomenal bass player. He's so underrated, it's ridiculous. He's an amazing songwriter, and he's one of the funniest human beings you could ever meet. I mean, in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I mean, we get to go on the road with Chip. You know what I mean? Like, how fun is that going to be?
Yep. Him and the Bullet Boys just came through here in Cincinnati about 3 weeks ago, and man, I went and I had a great time. It was awesome. I mean, Chip's one of those guys. He comes out and just hangs out by his merch table the rest of the night after they play and talks to everyone, takes pictures with everyone. I mean, he's just a down-to-earth, awesome guy.
Man, I was shooting this. We played like Rock on the Range. That's what it was. Rock on the Range. It was a festival with them, and Chip and Jack were hanging outside, and I used to film these little videos, right? And
I've watched
from the road. And
I've watched those. I haven't seen all of them, but I've watched a lot. Dude, I love it. I wish you could keep doing it. I think it's awesome as shit.
Yeah. It's really not about us playing music. It's more about all the funny shit that happens, right?
Yeah.
So we did one, and I'm telling Chip what it is, and I started filming them, and I'm like, hey man, tell your fans or our fans or whoever's paying attention, these goddamn videos, tell them, and Chip like, he puts his glasses on and he goes, hey, that gruffy voice is, he's like,
yeah.
hey, all you boys and girls are coming down to Rock on the Range, bring your chicken wings and cocaine, and don't forget the lubrication. We're gonna kick some fucking ass, I mean, can I say that on this podcast?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So I'm like, I'm on the ground dying, man. I'm like, this guy's hilarious, man. But yeah, I mean, we get to go out with them. We get to go out with Mark, from Bullet Boys, and
Yep.
Mark's
fantastic.
Mark's a talented. He's a talented little SOB, but his reputation precedes him. We're gonna have to make sure he behaves.
All right.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right, very good.
Hey, dude.
And you were spot on. Go ahead.
I'm sure Eddie Trunk will help out too. He'll be with us every night hosting, and he'll keep some order. He always does.
Yeah.
He's always the.
Well, what's fun?
He's the greatest.
What's funny is I just saw him this past Saturday night in Cincinnati. There was like 6 local bands playing, and then he came up last, and he did his talk about how he, from the start to the, to now, what he's done, and all that kind of stuff. And then he took questions, and of course, and then did Stump the Trunk, and which a bunch of people had already won, so I didn't get a chance to ask mine. But mine would have been easy to answer. But anyway.
What would your question be?
My question was it was one or the other. I was either going to ask who was the drummer in the band Steeler, or, which he'd have probably got that easy, or I was going to ask which 2 bands did Yngwie play in before he went solo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which one I just gave away. One I gave away was Steeler because...
Steeler, yeah. But the other band is with that guy who my buddy Howie was playing with him. I can't think of his name. Alcatraz.
Yes, very good, very good. Yeah, Yngwie started playing with him when he was like 19. And the reason I was going to do an Yngwie question is because Yngwie's coming here in a couple of months. So, dude, I love living in Cincinnati. I get to see every fucking body. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, it's a good rock scene out there. I mean, honestly, when we go back east, I mean, we get love. I mean, it's like those people rock. I mean, they love the time. I mean, let's face it, the songs that we play every night they're from. I mean, we've been moving on and new records and all that stuff, but the stuff that people, love. It's the nostalgia of it all, right? From the time that they claim as theirs, and it's their time and their favorite time in music, and in ours as well. And it's like, man, it's a party. I mean, when we go back east, they definitely get down, man. They sing their guts out, they have fun doing it, and they never apologize. You know what I mean? It's great.
One thing about go back on Chip, he that voice of his, that raspy voice, but then he gets on stage and he sings like a bird. It's like 2 different people.
Oh, I know. No, you know what's funny about Chip, man? I mean, honestly, he came up in a time in music where everybody, like, let's say Van Halen kicked off the 80s, and they really did. I mean, they kind of did. That Strat style guitar, hammer-ons, the bombastic front man, and everybody kind of go off that blueprint, like bands like Motley Crue, and they came later. I mean, you can kind of go back to that blueprint. But Chip, I gotta say, man, I mean, he never got enough credit. He kind of was coming from more of a late 60s, early 70s place. Yes. And I don't think that, I mean, he's like more of a Beatles influence guy, what it sounds like to me. He's like a 60s, 70s pop, like when I say classic rock pop kind of, you know what I mean? Like that Beatlesy, Beautiful, Badfinger, and all those songs, you hear and you're like, oh man, that's amazing. ELO and shit like that.
Yeah, yeah. Have you heard their new song, Metal Heart?
I haven't heard his new song. I'm about to hear it every night on tour.
Well, yeah,
sure.
but I'm just saying. I mean, they've already released it. But, dude, it's fucking phenomenal. I mean, and to give him credit, he could have totally been totally different and a new sound, blah blah blah, and then say, "Oh, we're sticking to our roots like everybody does," but fucking doesn't. But man, it sounds like Enough's Enough from 1986, 87, whenever they first hit the scene.
Of course, Chris.
I was like, holy shit, and it was good.
Yeah, he's a great songwriter. That's what I'm getting at. I mean, you know what? Do me a favor. When this podcast comes out, make sure you tag him, hashtag him, tag him. So he owes me money for talking him up like this. Chip, if you're listening, you motherfucker, you owe me some chicken wings and some money.
That's it. Shit, yeah.
Yeah, no. That's just one bass player to another, man. He's really great.
Oh yeah. And I love that bass. He didn't tell me the story about it. He told a friend of mine, but the one that the what's his name? Bass player from Cheap Trick gave him. Shit.
Tom.
I was going to say Tim, but Tom. Yes. Dude, that's a that's a badass bass. I love that.
He plays all kinds of different fun basses. I mean, we got to play a gig with them. And I got to check out, you're backstage. You're kind of like, you're about to go on, but they have sound checked. All their gear is kind of lined up behind you. And you get to actually take a look at everything. And man, Cheap Trick they did have the most amazing guitars. I'm not going to lie. They had the most amazing picks and the most amazing guitars. And if you're a musician and you've ever played with them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just go back there and there's stacks and stacks of beautiful basses, beautiful guitars. And, and the pick, the pick thing is like a thing that they've been doing forever. Where they, Rick Nielsen makes like, I don't know how many different kind of picks he has. I stole a few, honestly, but it's my collection. Yeah, I always do that, man. I can't, it's like, hey, man, give me some of your picks. I mean, I'm a huge fan. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And see, that's what's cool, man. Yeah. That's what I love about you and Robbie and everybody I've been talking to. That are playing with, all these bands I've been, meeting and stuff.
Oh, a jazz band? Our band?
Yeah. Y'all are still such fans, and you're not. I'm a rock star. Fuck you. I'm the shit.
Oh no,
you know what I'm
man.
God.
Yeah, I do know what you're saying, Chris. I mean that wouldn't work. I mean that I'm so lucky that I found another rock and roll family. Ronnie Montrose was that way too. I mean, we would almost find ourselves making fun of people who acted that way. It's like, come on, man, get over yourself. You can play guitar well, it makes you superhuman. Probably not.
Yeah.
But if you act like that, you're less of a human, right? I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, it's about the people, and then you're shaping sound waves that make them remember, why they like your music, and
yes.
And they give it back to you and you give it back to them. And that's what you try to create every night is a circular energy between the crowd and you. And that's where it's at.
Yeah.
But I mean, like everyone's humble in our band. If somebody wasn't, they get thrown out of the bus or the van or the plane or wherever. They get their papers quick, man. And then we go through so much weird travel that if you acted that way, I mean, seriously, it wouldn't work out very long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you hear things, this guy's a fucking jerk or he's a dick or whatever. But then you meet them and not everybody is that what you have as a perception either, So there's a lot of bullshit talk too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It's like some people can get misunderstood. I mean, there are a lot of artists out there that are super talented that are introverts, and people, expect you not to be an introvert because you're up on a stage and everything else. But there's a lot of guys out there that I've played music with and met and became friends with that it wasn't easy, to really crack the egg, so to speak, to be like, hey, get to know each other. You know what I mean? Like, because they're introverted. They're just basically, they don't, they have a little touch of social whatever, you know what I mean? But
right.
I'm lucky in my band. Everybody's real human, real grounded, real easy, and we don't. I don't think we leave anybody with the impression that we don't don't care about what they have to say, or trying to make some effort to take a picture or sign anything they want signed, or spark up a conversation about fishing or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's where it gets human, and that's where it's at. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to me, I'm so lucky to be with these guys. I mean, if they make it this far into this podcast, hey man, I love you guys.
That's right.
But they won't. They'll be like, man, I travel. Why do I want to hear Dan? I mean, I'm traveling with that guy all the time.
Yeah, no shit. So, but you're not full of yourself. Chip's not full of himself. You know what I'm saying? Jack is definitely not full of himself. Damn, when I approached him on, I forget who it was, Twitter, Facebook, something like that, and he had liked, which I know he doesn't run his, somebody else does. She told me, later, but I just mentioned, I said, hey, how can I get an interview with you? Because he had liked a picture that of me and him from back in 2000 when I opened up for a great white. And so I took that as an invite to, hey, maybe he might want to. So I did. And then whoever sent me the message back saying, hey, yeah, get in touch with Robbie, blah, blah, blah. I did. About a month later, Robbie said, yeah, Jack's ready to do it. Let's do it. I said, okay. A month later, I still hadn't heard. And I was like, damn. And so as soon as I was typing a message to Robbie, my phone rings at about 9 o'clock at night. And it was Jack, and I didn't have shit ready.
Yeah, that's all right, though. He's cool, man.
He said, you want me to call you back? I said, fuck no. I said, because I wasn't missing the chance just in case. You know what I'm saying? So we were talking bullshit while I was getting stuff ready. And dude, he was so down to earth, so genuine. And from what Robbie said, you need to listen to the podcast too, but from what Robbie said is he actually told me shit he's never told anybody, and which after that, I mean, it's almost like me and Jack connected, and when I went and saw y'all in Cleveland, he took me outside and told me a story about, the guy talking about his dad in that article, being in the, Korean War and stuff. And I was like, that just made me feel like, damn, these people are just real people just like me. I mean, I knew that, but it really felt good.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's a testament to exactly what I'm just telling you, Chris. I mean, honestly, dude, I mean, we can go hang out, grab lunch and talk about, I don't know, race cars. We could talk about
the
football.
Bills and the Raiders.
Are you a Raider fan?
No. Remember, I'm a Bills fan.
Oh yeah. I know. See, I'm a rabid Raider fan. I'm like, you mentioned the Raiders. I'm like, huh? Yeah. I mean, all day long, dude. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like there's more to life than that, and there's not a hierarchy. We put our shoes on the same. Mm-hmm. There's nobody who's superhuman because they can sing well or play a guitar better than the next guy. I mean, honestly, it's like, and if you leave this earth if you can play guitar exceptionally well and you leave this earth without teaching somebody else how to do it, you are a selfish SOB. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm serious, man.
Well, I'm not good.
And you don't.
I'm not good, and I taught lessons for 12 years. So, I mean, I hope they took from somebody else later, but anyway.
But then you understand. You understand the gift. I mean, like you teach some kid how to play a D chord or something or an A chord, and they do it right, and you're like, yeah, you just did it right. That's so cool. I mean, it's the connection, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about. It's the human connection. Is what this whole thing is really about. That's it, dude.
Yeah.
And that's really the only reason why I think any of us do it. I feel like I'm in the right place with the right guys.
Oh yeah.
And we're making good music, man. We got an acoustic record about to drop. Once Bitten Acoustic Bites.
I know, that's awesome.
That's getting mixed up. We started on a new original record. It sounded killer. It's going to be heavier than the last one. I'm super psyched about that. and it's going to be a little more bluesy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Heavier and bluesier, if that makes any sense. And then,
Yeah. Well, that sounds
yeah,
good.
man.
I love that. I've always wanted to do something like that, and just never pursued it. I guess my fault. But
Hey, you know what? My favorite. No, it's not your fault, man. My favorite kind of music is always been that had that blues element. Like, I mean, you take a band like Sabbath or Zeppelin or
Mhm.
AC/DC
Yeah.
or even Van Halen, any of them, right? They all have this blues overtones,
yes,
and they do it their own way, and it's really cool. And let's face it, Great White's early material, they were known in a time, it was like a rock kind of new, 80s rock scene, glam rock, 80s metal, whatever you want to call it.
mm-hmm.
They were probably one of the bluesiest, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
By far.
Jack's voice, against blues
Fucking
notes and
phenomenal.
chords, it's a beautiful thing. It's the way he
Yes.
sings, and it's so signature. I mean, it is so signature. And let's face it, Great White, I mean, they didn't have Eddie Van Halen, and they didn't have Tommy Lee,
Mhm.
but they did have Jack. And he's
Yes.
the most signature thing about that music, and it's in that voice, and it just sounds good against the blues. You know what I mean? It just does.
Yeah.
So,
Well, my favorite song by Jack Russell / Great White, whatever you want to say, is House of Broken Love, just because, I mean, I'm a sucker for a ballad anyway, but that song just fucking, I could listen to it. I could take that to a beach, sit down, smoke pipe, and listen to that for the rest of my life. That one song. And
right.
that's just me, but I cannot get away from this song. Sign of the Times probably 5 times a day, if not more. Love the shit out of that song, man.
Cool, man. That's cool.
I mean,
That's cool, man.
I like the other ones too, but that one just connects with me, and plus it's the video, I mean, it's classic. Just like I said on Enough's Enough. It's classic fucking Great White, man. I mean, just that sound, is Jack Russell. That's
yeah, Chris. Well, that's what songs, that's what songs do. They just kind of bookmark, times in people's lives and memories. They provoke memories, and when you hear old songs that you grew up, you listen to that record till it was wrecked, right? I mean,
Mhm.
There's a couple records I wrecked, like I definitely wrecked like AC/DC Back in Black and
Mhm.
Highway to Hell. I wrecked those records. I mean, I listened to them so much. Probably bought them like 3 times, right? And
Yep.
it's just like it's a timestamp. It's a thing, and different songs connect with different people because they can see themselves in the song. They can apply it to their own lives, right? And that's really the power of music, man. That is it in a nutshell. That is what every artist is trying to achieve, is to strike that universal chord with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And great songs do that. I mean, Stairway to Heaven, everybody loves that song.
Oh yeah.
You've heard it a million times, but you can be driving down a country road, man, and it comes on, and you're like, this is a great song. You know all the words, and you're in it.
Yeah. Got a question for you. You just said Back in Black and Highway to Hell. So, who is your AC/DC frontman?
Oh, Bon Scott. I'm sorry. I mean, Brian Johnson's phenomenal, but
yeah.
Okay,
Bon just Scott, making sure. That's one of those questions I want to start asking people. Okay, go ahead.
I'll tell you why, because they were almost like, a punk rock band in some ways. I mean, because of him. I mean, you could argue that Bon Scott helped invent punk rock. I mean, that guy he was such a hurricane rolling through those songs, such a personality. I mean, you can hear the mischief in that guy's voice. I mean, I bet he was a right to be around.
Oh,
like he was the guy, you can hear it, man. You can hear it.
You can. And there's not many.
I mean, it's fun.
There's not many out there that you can hear and go, man, that guy was feeling that. He was living that. He's done that. You know?
Oh yeah, no, he's true blue, man. He rings a universal chord with people because it's just,
Mm-hmm.
he's not trying to be anybody else before him, and he's not trying to be like, he doesn't sound like anyone after him. I mean, he was unique. I mean, that's for sure. And I mean, Brian Johnson. I mean, I can think of a few voices I've heard that kind of remind me of this voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, by that time AC/DC was writing such good songs. I mean, how are you going to go from having two singers and two records back to back that are that great?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, that's the eternal argument, right? Like, which is better, Back in Black or Highway to Hell?
Yeah.
But you put on Highway to Hell, man. There's something.
I don't know. Dirty
really...
Deeds is my favorite album.
Yeah, dude. I mean, listen to those lyrics.
I know. Well, I mean, you can't throw it. Big Balls is the greatest fucking song ever.
Right? Right? I mean,
yeah,
those words came out of that guy's imagination because he's such a character, man. He's just like, are you kidding me?
We got crabs and crayfish. I mean, oh shit, yeah.
People play and they sing like they are. I mean, I will say that it's always held true. I mean, like David Lee Roth. I mean, back in the day, you'd watch an interview with David Lee Roth, and although he's just a shadow of his former self for whatever, he's just being Dave, getting older, or whatever. But I mean, when he was younger, right, he was on fire, and in his songs, you could hear that. I mean, lyrically, he was like, he would take chances and say things that just nobody else would say. You know what I mean?
Just like the song Change, and the producer comes over and says, "All right, Dave," or whatever. I can't remember exactly, but I mean, that just fits with his personality.
Oh, Unchained?
Yeah,
so he goes, "Come on, Dave, give me a break."
Unchained. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's like, I ease the seat back. I like the way the line looks at the back of your stocking. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's not the greatest singer ever, but he was entertaining.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying, because he's such a freaking character.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think Jack has all those qualities too. He's a little more grounded in it all, but he's definitely one of the funniest human beings I've ever been around. All we do is laugh. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah. Well, he fucked with me a lot. When I first started recording on his podcast, he goes, he was talking to me like, "What? Yeah. And I was like, Are you there? Are you there?" And he starts laughing, and he goes, "I got you." And I was like, "Damn." And then later on, he did something else. Yeah, he was a riot, man. I enjoyed that. Another question here: what about? And the reason I said I started off with them is because they changed singers, which they had to. My daughter is 9 years old, and she is a AC/DC Bon Scott chick. She doesn't like the Brian Johnson songs for some reason. Anything I throw out there, Bon Scott, she's like just jamming, loves the shit out of it, singing it and everything. But my wife and I had a discussion the other day, and we feel the same way. It's kind of hard to connect with a band with a new singer. Like Stone Temple Pilots.
Sure. Scott Weiland?
Yes, Scott. Right. And then now they got this new kid that was on something, won something.
He was on The Voice. He's actually really good.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, there's no connection. It's hard. It was easier with them for me, AC/DC, because I was born in 1970, so I really was not a huge AC/DC fan until I started hearing Brian Johnson. I didn't even know who the hell Bon Scott was because I wasn't into, up until after I was 11 or 12, into AC/DC. So that was an easier change for me. But a lot of these new bands, even if the person doesn't, is not deceased, and they get new singers, and it just doesn't connect with me. Alice in Chains, even though they sound the exact same, it's just not the same for me. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Lane from Alice in Chains and Scott Weiland are very, very unique. And it's like Soundgarden trying to replace Chris Cornell. I mean, is that going to happen?
No.
Probably not. You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, you could get lucky, like AC/DC. I would say they got pretty lucky, right?
Yeah.
Brian Jones is a phenomenal singer and very unique,
Sabbath,
as well as Bon Scott. Yeah, I mean, I it's tough to connect with a new singer.
Blind Melon, you just can't replace Shannon Hoon. I'm sorry, I don't know. That's just That's
no, he's very unique. He's got a very unique tone as well.
Right.
I mean, like Foreigner is an example. They had Lou Gramm, who's one of my favorite singers of all time, and now they've continued on, with their new singer, and he sounds great. I mean,
is that the guy from
people
Hurricane?
connect with? Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I love that.
And right. See, I mean, there's an example that maybe you can deal with it, right? But and I mean, like Ozzy leaving Black Sabbath, and then you get Ronnie James Dio. There's another example of, well, it's not so bad, right? Because I mean, what they have now is so good. So you really have to just judge it on what they have with their new singer at that point. It's like you can't expect to hear it exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And I think bands have to be very careful. They can't really change their sound a whole lot going from singer to singer in between albums.
Yeah.
If they, they might lose their bass a bit. I don't know. It's hard to say.
It is.
I mean, some singers are just great enough to overcome that, and some just aren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, my biggest one is because I'm a huge Jani Lane fan. He was my idol. I loved his songwriting. I loved his demeanor. I loved everything about him. His singing, whatever. Met him a few times back in Mississippi. Actually opened up for Warrant back in 2000. And, I met him. It was just, man, awesome guy. And then that happened. That really hurt me, and not just as an artist, but as a person. And then, nothing against Robert. Robert is an amazing singer. But to me, some things are just better left to not to sing, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? That Janie was the only one that, in my eyes, that's just me. Love Robert. I think he's an awesome singer, but some songs just don't gel,
Well, it's tough because, I mean, these bands come up together. I mean, Jani Lane, it's easy to say, Jani Lane was Warrant, but actually Warrant is Warrant. And those guys, worked just as hard as Jani to get where they were, and when they lost him, I mean, it's like, are they supposed to stop playing? I mean, it's like,
no.
Hell no, because they still have a lot to give, and so I know those guys. Those guys are incredible humans. They're great guys, and I mean, Robert is doing pretty good. He's carving, his own thing. He's got like a record with the Dawkins guys coming out here, and
I know.
He's doing.
Well,
doing his own.
I like the original stuff that they're not the original. I'm sorry. I mean, it is original, but just I love the stuff that they do that they've written themselves, and I love the stuff that they do. Warrant stuff, old, Jani Lane stuff, but it just, some things kind of sounds different to me, not everything, but some things, but I love the new stuff. I mean, like off of Rockaholic, I think it was called. So yeah. Yep. I mean, they got their own sound. Warrant is a great band. I saw Warrant open up for Kingdom Come in Jackson, Mississippi, and there was not a huge crowd there. And because nobody knew really neither one of them. And Janie's on stage and he looks down at me. He said, "Hey, you." And I was like, "Me?" And he's like, "Yeah." He said, "I'm coming out in the crowd. You make sure nobody kicks my ass, because I'm a pretty good sized guy." And I was like, "Hell yeah, come on." So he came out in the crowd and was around me singing and shit, and after that, we just connected, met him at the bar afterwards and stuff. So it was cool, That's a little name drop there. So.
No, it's okay, man. I mean, honestly, that's Jani was he was a great friend of Jack's. They were real close for years and years and years, and he's obviously a real human being. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, we're all human beings, and sometimes for the fans, a new singer, the choices of never hearing those songs again or hearing them with a new singer, that's your choices. Unfortunately, when people die and they leave us, that's all we got sometimes, and and hopefully the band understands that, and they do their very best and choose wisely when they pick a singer that's going to. I mean, like bands like Quiet Riot.
Yeah, I haven't even heard any of that yet. How is it?
What?
Quite right.
Oh, okay, yeah, they got James Durbin. He's that guy from, I think, The Voice, right? He was from The Voice as well.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
I knew it was
he's
a young
hell
cat.
of a singer. He
Okay.
He hits all the notes. I mean, he's incredible. He's an incredible singer, But I mean, they've had. I mean, Kevin DuBrow was so signature that they've had a tough time over the years trying to find a suitable replacement for him.
Yeah.
For their fans to hear those songs and love them and enjoy them as much as they used to, right?
Well, isn't Frankie the only original member? I mean, or is Rudy still playing with them? It's just two of them. It's just Frankie, isn't it?
Chuck Wright.
Chuck Wright.
Chuck Wright. Chuck Wright, the bass player.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this is one of the. A lot of people don't know this, but you know how Rudy Sarzo gets credit for that mental health and playing all those bass lines in that first record. Well, that was Chuck Wright who recorded all that stuff. That wasn't even Rudy. His picture's on the record, but that was Chuck.
Okay.
And,
I didn't know
Chuck,
that.
Chuck's one of my favorite bass players in town here. He puts on the Ultimate Jam in Hollywood every Tuesday for all of us touring guys to go down and play whatever, whatever theme they got going. And Chuck is one of the best bass players I've ever seen. He's phenomenal.
Okay.
And, he's had to live that down. But he, and then as soon as Rudy left and did the Whitesnake thing, Chuck got back in the band. So, So Chuck's just as original as Frankie. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. All right. But as far as, there's no Carlos Cavazo, and of course there's no Kevin DuBrow. So, that's a tough one.
I never understood why Carlos didn't jump back in with them. I never understood that. But
he went with Rat, and then now
I know
Rat is just two guys because they got the name back from Bobby. I don't know how all that went down, but then it's Juan Crozier and Stephen Piercy, and Warren left the fucking band. And sorry, I mean, dude, Warren is one of my top 3 favorite guitar players. And without him, it's just not.
Sure. I like all those guys that you named. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, they're just everyone's just trying to. They're just trying to exist and do what they do, right? I mean, if you're a plumber for over 30 years, you're going to take a plumbing gig, whether it's like on your own or whether with that big company that you used to work for, right? I mean,
no.
What are you going to do?
I know.
Well, hey, dude, I got to get scooting here pretty soon.
That's cool.
I'm actually, I got a, I hate to say this, but I got a birthday, and I got my family coming in. I got to pick them up at the airport.
Your birthday?
Dude, it's like that Beatles song. You say it's it's my birthday.
Okay. Yep. So I'm going to take a guess here. 42.
No, man, much older.
No shit. Well, hey, you look good.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say 39, but I knew I'd be stretching it if I.
No, you're like a decade. You're like a decade short, bud.
Well, yeah. I just turned 48 in May, so that's not. Hey, you know what? 50 is the new 30 to me.
Yeah, right. I keep trying to tell myself the same thing, man. Yeah,
it is.
You just gotta work smarter and not harder, right?
Exactly. Well, Dan, it's been a pleasure, man. I have enjoyed it. You can check out Dan on with Jack Russell. Jack Russell's Great White. They're going on tour. When does that tour start?
That particular leg starts September, October. Through those 2 months, we're going to be hitting it pretty heavy. Mm-hmm. And then, we got dates up until then. We're busy. We don't have a week off, period, until then even. Okay. So,
Okay. Check them out on Jack Russell's Great White on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Actually, I think it's Jack's Great White Band.
Jack Russell's Great White. Yeah.
Well, no, one of them's different. But anyway, I think on Instagram it may be a little different or something. But anyway, you can find out all their dates and everything. They're definitely playing here at Bogart's in Cincinnati in September. I will definitely be at that show. And I think y'all are playing a couple of other dates around here with Dockin is one. And then I think you're playing in another town called Wilmington, Ohio. So y'all are going to be here about 3 or 4 times. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we got some festivals. We got some, theater dates. We got some club dates. It's a whole mix. It's a mixed bag. But Chris, I want to thank you for all you're doing, man.
Hey,
for the rock and roll scene, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show.
Oh shit, man! It's been a pleasure.
I'm grateful, dude, and I can't wait to hang out, man. We're gonna have some fun when I see you again.
Oh yeah.
And thank you, dude. Yes, thank you.
Hey, no problem. And we will talk soon, and I'll see you when y'all get to town. One of those dates. Actually, all those dates, but the first one.
All right, brother. Sounds good.
All right, Dan. You have a good one, man.
Okay. Take care, brother.
I do. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hell yeah. That concludes our show for today, episode number 27. Would like to thank Dan McNay of Jack Russell's Great White for coming on the show and giving us some good stuff there. Thanks a lot, Dan. Also, want to throw some shout-outs. Dirty D for Dirty Outlaw Entertainment. He hosts a radio show on 104.5 FM in Pearl, Mississippi. And he also, him and his buddy Brian Jones, run a entertainment company, Dirty Outlaw Entertainment, which is also not just booking bands, managing bands. So go check them out. Want to throw a shout out to my good buddy Heath Rosinay of Spank the Monkey for giving me that promo liner. Also want to give a shout out to my boys in Sweet Tooth Jones. So they're going to be playing with Blood Life, which is Tony Henson, Richard Garrett, and Rob Plafkin. And also on that same night is going to be the infamous Randy Jackson of Zebra, the voice of Zebra. So that's going to be August 3rd at Martin's in Jackson, Mississippi. Go by and check that out. And want to thank again the venue, and going to have some more kick-ass people on the show before long. So sit back, hold tight, and open up your ears.